Hello friends! European cars got a 1.6 Ecotec petrol aspirated and a turbocharged 1.4 turbo. At the same time, the 1.7 CDTI turbo diesel was at the disposal of motorists of the old world. It was created by Isuzu back in the mid-90s. Mokka received its most modern version with a return of 130 horsepower. In mid-2015, the 1.7 CDTI was replaced by a representative of the Ecotec diesel family with a volume of 1.6 liters, developing 136 horsepower. Unlike the cast-iron 1.7, the new turbo diesel had an aluminum head and cylinder block. Among the first buyers, Mokkas with a 1.8-liter gasoline aspirator, A18XER, were the most popular. In the past, 1.8 engines with the XER prefix were often pestered by noisy timing gears. The phase variator and its solenoid valves were upgraded back in 2010. So problems with phase regulators have become less common but not completely eliminated. Usually the disease occurs after 100,000 kilometers. But with the heat exchanger and thermostat, the situation has not changed. They can leak after 80 to 140,000 kilometers. Moreover, the flaw is also characteristic of the 1.4T turbo engine. Another common problem is expansion tank cracking. The resistor of the cooling system fan can also fail. The fan starts to work at maximum speed. After 60 to 100,000 kilometers, a gasoline engine may mope due to a faulty ignition module. Several turbo engines died from detonation. It is caused by low-quality gasoline. The result is sad, the destruction of the piston rings and partitions between the rings, and in some cases the pistons. The 1.7 CDTI is a fairly reliable unit. At least a few owners of diesel cars have not yet encountered serious problems. According to the experience of other Opel models, at high mileage, a turbocharger and an oil pump may require attention. The engines were combined with 5 1.8 and 6-speed mechanics 1.4T, as well as with a 6-band hydromechanical automatic wheel drive. Moreover, a bunch of 1.8 with an automatic machine could only be all-wheel drive, and a combination of 1.8 with mechanics could only be monodrive. The turbo version with all-wheel drive was exclusively on the handle. Diesel modifications are deprived of all-wheel drive and were combined only with an automatic transmission. A manual transmission usually fails, but the factory clutch disc could wear out after 60 to 100,000 kilometers. In a 5-speed manual transmission, the tip of the gear selector cable may fly off. Then the lever has free play. Owners have to resort to improvised means, electrical tape or plastic ties. The 6T40 automatic transmission developed by GM, according to operating experience in other models of the concern, did not prove to be the best. Slack was usually provided by a wave spring, solenoids, or a torque converter. Frequent oil changes, every 40,000 kilometers, significantly extended the life of the box. However, contrary to expectations, the machine, as a rule, does not force you to visit the service for repairs. Although there are complaints about rough switching, typical for 1.4T. In some cases, adaptation helps. There are known examples with a mileage of more than 200 to 250,000 kilometers without automatic transmission repair. The all-wheel drive system uses a rear differential and a Borg-Warner electromagnetically controlled multi-plate clutch. The system allows you to change the traction ratio between the axles in the range from 100 to 0 in favor of the front wheels to 50 to 50. The advantage of the system is the relatively low weight of 65 kilograms. The presence of all-wheel drive adds a portion of potential problems. For example, the right front drive shaft oil seal may be leaking, and after 80 to 120,000 kilometers, the propeller shaft outboard bearing wears out. From time to time, the Borg-Warner clutch itself also fails. The all-wheel drive system is turned off. On this occasion, a number of machines came under a recall campaign in order to update the clutch control program. A failure can also be caused by the ingress of moisture into the contact connector. Disassembly and drying is necessary. Some even had to repair the clutch due to biting and jerking while driving. In specialized services, they are familiar with the disease and expel it by replacing oil seals and bearings. The suspension is tuned quite tightly because coating defects are transmitted in sufficient detail. On the track, behavior cannot be called exemplary. As the speed increases, the steering wheel becomes empty and the reactions become less accurate. McPherson struts are installed on the front axle and a U-shaped torsion beam on the rear axle. The suspension may require attention in the 60 to 100,000 kilometer segment. The silent blocks of the front levers, usually the rear ones, and shock absorbers, usually the front ones, wear out. The naturally aspirated SUV 1.8 has a hydraulic booster, while the other versions have an electric power steering. Owners of cars with power steering sometimes noticed noise coming from the pump. Most often, the problem was solved by replenishing the fluid in the system. The cause of the hum could also be a torn mesh in the tank. The tank had to be changed. In some cases, a bulkhead or replacement of the pump itself was required. In severe frosts, below 20 degrees, factory power steering high-pressure hoses burst. Along the way, the fitting from the power steering reservoir could also come off. It's too early to talk about body corrosion, but chrome elements under the influence of an aggressive external environment lose their former gloss. In Mokka with adaptive light AFL, the decorative edging ring of the lens body often falls off. The system itself may also become ill. The sensor fails, or the wiring inside the headlight is damaged. After 3 to 5 years, the windshield wiper drive mechanism often turns sour. The leashes work more slowly, jerkily, or simply jam. Often, the mechanism can be revived after disassembly and lubrication. From time to time, there are problems with door locks. Some owners had to change the air conditioning compressor. If you know of other model malfunctions, be sure to write about it.